Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday! It's Self-Care Wednesday. I know, it's still a little out of whack here. I don't know why. It's not like I haven't done these before, right? Right. So anyways, it's Self-Care Wednesday. I'm going to start with the self-care ritual deck, and then I found some fun stuff to talk about today during self-care. Some of them are pretty interesting. But, I mean, not, just regular interesting. But anyways, let's see what we have for Self-Care Wednesday Ritual Deck. Whoa, those just flew right out, didn't they? There's another one. Let's see. I like when they fly out of the deck because it really feels like those are the messages that really, really need to come out. Wow. So, anyways, I got quite a few cards there, so let's just roll with those. All right. So, let's see here. Let me give these a good shuffle, and then we'll get to the self-care ritual deck. All right. First thing up for self-care: rest. Rest. Ironically, that is not what I got last night. I don't know why. I just spent the majority of the night tossing and turning, which means I probably got to sage my house or something. Get all the bad juju out. But yeah, rest is huge. Rest is huge. In fact, what's interesting is this is actually going to be a topic in the things I wrote down, the mental health check. So, yeah, exactly. But rest is a big one. And one of the reasons it's a big one, if you get enough rest, you're not cranky, you're not tired, you don't feel like you're dragging throughout the day. A lot of times we'll turn to alternative things like caffeine or sugar to help keep us awake. My dad and I was in San Diego this last weekend, and we saw a 5-Hour Energy commercial, and it was like the extra commercial, right? So it was like 5-Hour Energy plus something. And I know that they also used not just caffeine. I mean, it said sugar-free, which means they replaced it with something else, probably some natural vitamin out there that just gives you the poofs, right? And just like, woo! But here's the thing. When you get too much, sometimes you start to go downhill. So you got 5 hours, and at about 4:55, you're like, oh my God, I'm starting to drag. So then you drink another one, And my dad's all, have you ever tried that? I'm like, no, I want to live. So, I mean, I'm not sure what it would do to my heart. I mean, like I said, my heart runs great, but because it is a repaired heart, there are different things I have to do to, manage it. So, I was like, nope. In fact, there was a time when if I wasn't drinking a big gulp of Coca-Cola, because I can't drink diet. Aspartame gives me a headache. So I would drink that, or, if I didn't drink that and I wanted something different, I would drink a Red Bull or a Monster drink. When my cardiologist found out about this, I thought he was going to have a heart attack. I did not. I was okay. But, he basically forbade me from those. He's like, what are you trying to do? Kill yourself? It's like, no. But, so rest. Rest is a big thing, so you don't have to turn to all these other alternative things. Good morning, baby sibling. Oh, it's time. It's Wednesday. Happy hump day. Hump day, hump day, hump day, hump day. So, I always do that for her. I don't know. Hopefully she's still on. So, connect with fire. I swear, this card comes up every single time. And the reason I giggle is because in California, not a wise idea. We're like a fire state, all right? There used to be a time in California where fire season was a season. It's still a season, but sadly it feels like it's year round now, where we just have these crazy fires, that just kind of rip through. There was one over the summer that ripped through a very, very high-end neighborhood, and it just wiped it out. And, but that being said, fire can also be very mesmerizing, so be careful. Candles can be mesmerizing, be careful. Now, what they're saying with connecting with fire, some people used to divine using flames. They would, by that, with the divination, I mean, like there's a thing called scrying where you would look in your reflection and then you would see things, but fire can also be that. It can be, because it's so mesmerizing, right? It just feels like you're going into this trance when you see it, and it's just like, wow. But just be careful, because as beautiful as fire can be, it can also burn you. Okay. And yes, that's a metaphor. It can be beautiful, but it can also be painful. So there's a healthy balance in there. All right. But connecting with fire could also mean doing a burning ritual. And burning rituals, a lot of people think is very metaphysically minded, but it may have started there. I don't know. But it can also be very therapeutic. Like if you're angry or you're sad or you're just having all these emotions, you can write it on a piece of paper, put it in a safe burn type bowl or fire pit or barbecue. Just be careful if it's windy, okay? You don't want to start something because that would be bad. But you can burn it and just, it's like a release. It's like letting go. So it's putting all your thoughts, all your anger, all your pain and all this stuff into something. And do it as many times as you feel necessary, because each time you may feel better and better if you really kind of allow yourself to connect with this particular ritual. And I don't mean ritual in a metaphysical sense. I mean just with this exercise, if you will. Because if you say, like you see this, whatever, all this stuff that's burning in front of you, like all your words and your thoughts, that, sorry, my stomach's growling. And then you can, you can let it go. You can watch it disappearing from your life. And so, and that means burn the paper, okay? Not the people. But, I know, it's terrible. I saw a joke the other day about that. But, I mean, well, never mind. Anyways, oh, humor. But no, it can be a very, very effective tool in the course of healing. All right. So the next one, alone time. Alone time. I'm feeling parents on this one. All right. People with children. A lot of single people get their alone time. In fact, sometimes they search out people to hang out with because they get too much alone time. If you have children, if you're married, and even if you don't have kids, but you're married or you have a roommate or something, alone time can be good. To have that separation from people. Sometimes you just need to regather your thoughts. And a lot of times you can't do that when you're trying to focus on 9 million people around you. So I'm very grateful because my home life has a very good balance to it. So I get my alone time that I need, but I also get to hang out with my sister because she's my roommate. But for the reason I said I see kids in this is because I feel like out there are some parents who put so much into their families that they forget about themselves. They forget to take care of themselves. And this is Self-Care Wednesday. This is about making sure that your cup is full so that, you're not just running on fumes. You got to fill up that gas tank. And, when a car starts to run low on gas or starts to run low on fumes, it's not good for the car. That's why it's not always good to run till you're empty, right? Because it can damage the car in a way, or it can, lessen its effective time. So running on empty consistently is obviously not a good thing, and it's not healthy. It's not good for you. You're obviously not getting the rest that you need. You cannot burn your children. Okay, I know. My mind is in some dark places today, but no, you cannot do that. But you know what? You can use this tool as a family. Maybe sometimes there's things that you wish you could say, but you're afraid to. If you are open to, communication with your family members, that can be, the burning exercise can be a very, very effective tool, to help you all release whatever animosity, anger, anxiety it is that you have. And, make sure that you're creating a safe space, a safe, non-judgmental space. Because you may have children that have an issue with you. And, that doesn't mean that it'll get resolved the way everybody wants it. But what it means is that you're communicating, and maybe you are going to be able to be on a level where you understand one another better. So, communication is always so, so key in everything. And a lot of times when we have this alone time, it helps us to regather our mind. helps us to focus, right? Get things back into perspective. And so you can communicate clearly without being judgmental, without being angry, without feeling like you're going to snap somebody's head off. Because a lot of times when that happens, it's not necessarily you, it's just your weariness coming through. All right. So, next one, family. I know, alone time to family. So see, when you have alone time, you can give better to your family. Or just reconnect with them. If you haven't called a parent in a while, or you haven't called a sibling in a while, or a cousin, or whatever. I just dropped my cousin down in San Diego a nice little good morning message. Two of them, two different ones, yesterday and last week. And it felt good because I felt like I was reconnecting. I'm the one that did it, but it reminds me that I do have a large family, and I'm very grateful for all these people that are in my life. I text baby sibling every morning. She's out in Tucson. She's my baby cousin. She's actually my baby cousin, but we text and from time to time, and but it's good to remember that we have family to lean in on when we need them. And even an older sibling, I mentioned her earlier because she is my roommate. She's my best friend. Okay, we've known each other over 20 years, but she truly is like a sister to me. And in a lot of weird ways, since I've lost my mom, she's kind of a pseudo mom in a strange way. Like there are things that I know, like these qualities that she has, that just, they go beyond being a sister and saying, do you really want to do that? Because it might not turn out well. And there are siblings who will do that for one another, but she'll put her foot down in a very motherly way. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I kind of noticed myself that after my mom passed, I was missing that motherly type of energy. So, and she filled it. So, in a lot of ways, that was very helpful, because it is helpful to have someone listen to you and be there for you. So family isn't necessarily blood. Family can be anybody. It can be people that you're close to, that you feel your relationship goes beyond this friendship and into like a familial type of friendship. And again, she is truly one of my soul sisters, and Sissy was also another one. So, positive affirmations. I know a lot of people sit there and say, oh, what's with the positivity and la la la? Do you want it to be like some happy, joy place where nobody ever gets mad? Nobody's that unrealistic. People are always going to have something to complain about. I mean, that's the honest truth. But why not inject the positivity into the world? There's enough negativity out there. Right? There's enough people complaining on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and blah blah blah. Actually, as much flack as Instagram gets, I'm very very picky about who I follow. But I have noticed that, most of the time, especially on Instagram, I'll follow people that bring something to my life. And yeah, you follow some of these blue checked people, but they spread the positivity or make sense. I saw one post the other day that I really liked about how walls that are built with a curve are actually, they use less materials than a wall that's built straight, right? But they were talking about, how it was a retweeted thing, and I really liked it because it really kind of hit home for me, because sometimes my brain gets so regimented that it just sees one way. And it was basically saying that, these walls are strong, but also it doesn't necessarily have to be a straight line. Life is full of curves. Life is full of little zigzags. You zig, it zags, and then you're like, wow, what the hell happened? And when we live such a regimented mindset, when it zags, you sometimes get so stuck because you're like, well, shit, what do I do? And then there's a panic there. So what I really liked about that curved wall metaphor was that it was talking about how strong these walls actually can be, but also, how life does, zig and zag, or it's not always about a straight line. But what I also noticed, and I'm being honest when I say this, in the two pictures that were in this post, they were mesmerizing. I mean, they were so pretty. I know it seems strange because you're like, why would a straight wall be pretty? Or, a wall. I love walls. I love doors. I love windows. I take pictures of all these things because I am a weirdo, okay? But there's history behind each of these things. The doorway, this is a doorway to someone's life. There's a history behind it. This is a window into someone's, home. This is a wall that is meant to protect somebody. But it was so pretty. It was so pretty, just the way it curved, and it was so perfectly curved. So, I know I got into a whole thing off of positive affirmations, but positive affirmations are a huge, 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 huge thing. And here, let me read some of these on here. Brave and beautiful, worthy, grateful, healthy, happy, and I love myself. I love myself. And I think that's the most important affirmation because I think a lot of times we all forget to love ourselves, and that is so, so important. It is very, very important to make sure that you keep your cup full or as full as you can, not just for the people around you, but for yourself so that you're not, again, running on fumes. So positive affirmations. Like I said, there's enough negativity in this world. We don't need to keep adding to it. Adding that positivity balances it out. Aromatherapy. This is different for many people. Again, I will say this again. Remember, if you use a diffuser or if you use essential oils, please make sure they are pet friendly. It can kill your fur baby. All right. Experienced this the hard way. Fortunately, she's okay. But it took me a while to understand. It's like, why was she getting sick? And it was because I was using a lavender spray, but I used to let my little kitty, traipse through the room. And unfortunately, she had soaked enough of it up in the pads of her paws that her body couldn't process it. So I learned the very, very hard way that essential oils can be very, very dangerous for your pets and animals, and that's with diffusers. So just be careful. I mean, now if I burn incense, my door closes. No cats allowed. Or if I do the oil with the distilled water and have it burning up, no one's allowed in the room when that is happening because I just need to keep them safe. So that's my little disclaimer. If you're going to use these things, just make sure they're pet friendly and be careful with it, okay? Because you don't want them getting sick. I mean, some essential oils are okay to use around them, but there are others that their bodies just cannot process. And I almost lost her, and I'm so extremely grateful that she was okay. So, so aromatherapy though, for humans, can be, it can help during meditation because it's just pick a smell you like, pick a scent you like, and just, go crazy. So, lastly, take a walk. When you're upset or angry, sometimes the best thing to do is to walk away. And taking a walk can also be very, 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 very important because it can help you clear your mind. It's good for exercise, right? There's a lot of benefits to taking a walk. And you never know what you're going to see. I mean, I don't exactly live in the most exciting place in the world. I mean, as far as walking goes, I mean, Southern California is great. But if I want to have a nice walk with a view, I need to drive somewhere for it because my neighborhood, nothing. It's just streets and streets and streets of houses and a big long boulevard. But it's just, but it's boulevard of houses. So I mean, my walk, I think that's sometimes why it holds me back. When I was in England, you couldn't stop me from walking. The other day I went to Old Town San Diego. You couldn't stop me from walking. I was all over the place, and then I was sitting on benches just enjoying the view. And, but it was interesting. So, if you really want to be that person that goes for walks or whatever, maybe find a park nearby, or go down to the beach. a lot of times they'll have the walkways. Just be careful because some of those paths are bike paths. So, you don't want to get yelled at by someone. So just be careful. So anyways, let's get to the topic for today. Mental health check. The mental health check. I'm going to read a few of these off here. And one of the reasons I thought this was great for self-care was, one, because I waited till the last minute to find something. Now you know my secret. But this one hit me between the eyes. And there's a couple in here that I put a star next to because it's like, ooh, they're important. So number 1, how am I feeling physically and mentally? Every single day, I have an alarm. One is set for 8:01 on the weekdays. One is set for noon 01 on the weekends. And it's a mental health check-in. And what it does for me, for me, I have a dinged up mental health, so this may not apply to everybody who has what I call a normal brain. But for me, I have to do this. I have to check in with myself. How am I feeling mentally? How am I feeling physically? Actually, physically wasn't a part of the thing. It's mostly up here that I just like, how am I doing today? Usually I know when the minute I wake up, and by the time 8 o'clock rolls around, I've been up for a while. But it's a reminder. Because, when you're first waking up, you're kind of groggy, you got all these things that you're trying to do. And, you may not necessarily be, know where you're at. So I do use the 8 o'clock alarm as kind of a check-in for myself. Say like, how am I doing okay today? And a lot of times it can change like that on the dime, right? But it's always important to check in with how you're feeling physically and mentally. If you check in, you're not feeling well, get some rest. I know it can be hard. It's not easy for everybody, so I'm not preaching to the choir. I'm just saying, if you have the opportunity, get some rest. Or mentally, take a moment, take a deep breath. We're not always able to just stop and meditate, right? But, focus on your breathing. Take some deep breaths, or again, if you feel that anxiety coming up, you can do the 5 things. Taste, touch, smell, see, and hear. Don't know why that took me so long. It's the 5 senses. But anyways, 5 things. 5 things you can see, smell, taste, touch, hear, all those things. All right. So, number 2, when did you last eat a whole meal? Sometimes people graze throughout the day. They get too busy. They don't do this, that, or the other. And then they kind of skip eating an actual good meal. And that can be bad. That can also be bad for your weight because your body might either get used to you feeding it all the time, so it stores it, or if you forget to eat, it may store the next thing you eat because it's not sure. If you make that a bad, consistent habit, it can trick your body, and your body's going to start holding on to food because it doesn't know when it's going to eat next. So, I learned that from my personal trainer a long time ago. But yeah, because he was, before my therapist banned me from dieting, he was trying to ban me from dieting. But I learned a lot. This was somebody who was a personal trainer. That wasn't just a personal trainer because they worked out. This person had a degree and everything, did his homework. And I learned a lot about that. It took me years to apply it to my life. But it is very important to, eat your whole meals, and I'm kind of one of these people that I find I end up eating 1 big meal a day. So I do protein shakes, not for dieting, but because it gives me the nutrients. Because in the morning, I'm not hungry. I'm not really a breakfast eater. I'll eat breakfast if I'm out or going out with friends or family, but I'm not normally a breakfast eater. And then in the evening, it's like, maybe I ate a big lunch, so I'm really not hungry. And I was talking to baby sibling about this, and I told her, I said, I think it's good that I need to start, implementing these shakes back in my life because they have the nutrients in it. So whatever works for you, you have to figure that out, but make sure you get at least, the proper amount of meals you need, not just grazing throughout the day, not saying, oops, I forgot to eat today. Your body needs to be nourished. All right. So, when did you last drink water? See number 2. Your body needs to be nourished. You need to drink water. If your pee is super yellow, you've got problems. All right? Because sorry, now it made me thirsty. You need water. All right? Water is a good thing. I know a lot of people don't like to drink water. Older sibling is not a fan of water, so she drinks flavored water, which means she gets fancy water delivered to her every month. But and me, I'm right out of the fridge. I mean, literally, like push the lever on the fridge and water comes out of it. That's me. But it took me a long time to like water. You know, especially when I gave up Coca-Cola, when I gave up soda 12 years ago. Actually, 12 years ago this month. So lucky me, pat on the back. I will drink a Sprite from time to time for bubbles, because you gotta have bubbles. But no, I gave up Coca-Cola 12 years ago because I loved it way too much. I loved it way, way too much. I mean, when I got off of the soda, I had withdrawals. I had the sweats. I had the headaches. I felt weak. I threw up a few times. Because caffeine is actually a drug. And it was bad. It was very, very bad. But I had to start drinking something. So I started drinking iced tea. But, you know, you can only drink so much iced tea, right? And so I forced myself. And now I absolutely love water. I mean, I do. I truly, truly love water. I mean, when I get super thirsty or, you know, feeling dehydrated, I don't think about all these other things I can drink. I literally, like, I need a bottle of water. But, so, you know, find ways around it. You should be drinking at least 64 ounces of water a day, which is 8-ounce glasses. But when you have shit this big, that's basically 3 cups of water in here, you know, so, you know, get close. If you are working on your health, you should actually be drinking whatever your weight is, divide it in 2, and whatever half of your actual weight is how many ounces of water you should be drinking a day. I know, be peeing all day, but it's an inconvenience, but it's for your health. So, number 4, I actually have a star next to this one because it is a problem of mine. How long have I spent on my phone today? My phone shames me once a week and tells me whether my usage is up or down. Now, to be fair, part of my usage includes these videos every week. But I do spend, when I start to get anxiety, I play games. And I probably spend far too much time on social media. I know people who will only go on social media on their computers. They will not put it on their phones. And, you know, smart. I'm not sure I could ever be that person. But, you know, I'm also, I know I'm going to say it, I'm a Gen Xer, right? So it's funny to me that I spend a lot of time on my phone. Because I grew up in a generation, and even some millennials, right? Before the internet really became a big thing. I grew up before the internet. You know, I mean, when we wanted information, we actually had to go to the library or go to the encyclopedias our parents bought us when we were in grade school. But yeah, we had to do the footwork, literal footwork. And that's one of the things I loved about the fact that my parents worked at a university. They both retired from San Diego State. Because I had, you know, I could go to the library there. And I mean, anybody can go to the library at a university, but, you know, sometimes if I didn't want to stay home, you know, I'd get bored. It's like, yeah, can I just go to work with you guys today and hang out in the library? So much in there. And then they had those microfiche things where you can look up like newspapers from like 100 years ago. One day I spent, you know, like just 4 hours looking up what happened on every birthday through like 1870, you know, but I mean, that side note, but there's a lot of us who grew up before these things. And yet those same people who know how to entertain themselves without the internet, without computers, without, you know, these magical cell phones, we spend a lot of time on them. In fact, we may spend more time on it than other people we know. Because, you know, when you're a parent, you can control what your kid does. But then, you know, I mean, like, I know people who scroll before going to bed. My phone is not, once I get into bed, my phone is not near me. I literally keep it on my desk to charge. And that most of that is because I need to get out of bed to turn off my alarm. But even that has conditioned us. I mean, I have an Echo where I set a previous alarm before my regular alarm. So I got, it's basically like a 5-minute warning that I need to be out of bed in 5 minutes. And I do that, but I've noticed there are times when I've taken naps and set my alarm and I've snoozed without even realizing I'm snoozing. It's like, oh, look, my alarm will be set for maybe, you know, like 1:30 and it's 2:30 now. And it's like, holy shit. I don't even remember saying, you know, so-and-so snooze. I don't want to say her or she'll go off, but like echo, snooze, and we become so conditioned to these things. So I am grateful sometimes that my phone shames me and lets me know how often I've been on my phone. But when you're going to bed, don't doom scroll. Okay, it can be so bad for your mental health, whether you have a dinged up one or not. It can make you angry, it can make you sad, it could rile you up basically. And so you may get into bed feeling kind of snoozy, and then all of a sudden you're just so angry you're just wide awake again. So if you can, if it's possible, and I'm not saying you have to, you are the leader of your own kingdom. You do what you need to do, okay? But if you feel so inclined, just challenge yourself to do that. Okay, to just kind of put your phone down certain times of the day. So I definitely need to work on that because I'm terrible at it. But let's see. Here's another one I have a star next to. When did I last talk to someone about my feelings? Actually, not that long ago. But the reason I put the star next to it is because years ago I was terrible at it. I would shove things down, push it down to the point where it would explode and come flying out in different directions, hitting people that didn't deserve it. And it was my own pain. And I didn't know how to handle it. And I was too embarrassed because I figured if I reach out to somebody, I'm letting go of control. Control isn't always the best thing. Having a good balance, right? Having, being in charge to me is different than being in control of something. When you're in charge of something, you're making sure that everything runs smoothly. There's lots of joy and happiness and but regimented, things, steps to get where you need to go. But when you control things, when things go wrong, a lot of times we could explode. Like, I'm terrible, I'm stupid, how did this happen? But when we're in charge of what our life is, when we hit these challenges and we hit these obstacles, we can literally sit there and go, you know what, it's okay. I will figure this out. And I'll keep moving forward. As opposed to freaking out and literally taking like 10 steps back because you're so overwhelmed. So baby steps are huge. And it doesn't mean, just run up like Forrest Gump to a stranger and start telling your life story, which I actually think would be interesting. But, I'm curious about people. I really am. I am genuinely curious about other people. I will sit and watch a sporting event. I was watching football on Monday. And all I could think of was, I wonder what life is like there. I mean, it's the United States, but the United States is like 50 tiny countries and a couple of territories, So it's like no two state is the same. And, there may be similarities, sometimes not great ones, but we are all different, Case in point, this is actually a fun story, so I figured I'm just going to throw this in here. Several years ago when I was in England, my friend, he had a couple of days off. Unfortunately, his wife couldn't get the time off, which I was bummed because I miss them. They actually lived in California for a while. She's from out here. He's from England and they moved back, but very dear friends of mine. And we were at Stonehenge walking around, and all of a sudden, my friend waves me over. Hey, guess what? I found it, guess what? I found someone that you have stuff in common with. And I'm like, okay. So I walk over and he's talking to this couple. And she starts talking to me, and she's got a little bit of a British accent because she's lived in England. Her and her husband have been married over 30 years. She's lived in England for about 25 of those. And the first thing I did, I started laughing and I said, isn't it funny when people say, hey, I found a fellow American, and I'm all, you're from New York, aren't you? And she's like, how'd you know? And I said, I can tell by your accent. And she's like, I'm trying to place yours, but I can't. And I told her, I said, just listen while I'm talking and you're going to figure it out pretty quick. And she's like, oh, you're from California. And I'm like, how? And I said, that's good. But I said, I want to know how you figured that out. She's all, because you talk so fast. Apparently that's our accent. We just talk fast. Hey, we ain't got time to sit around and look stupid. New Yorkers bottom line it. We just try to get everything in that we can. But her husband and my friend looked at me and they're all, how'd you guys do that? And I said, I said, to put it plainly, I said, the United States is like 50 little countries. You know, we're 50 states, but we're like 50 little countries. And it's really true because there are so many different aspects to it. So, I'm not sure where I was going with that. I had to share that story because it's one of my favorite stories. But when it comes to sharing feelings, I don't know how I'm just going to segue back to this because that's what it was all about. We have to figure out how to reach one another. You know, and it may be one of the things that, one of the reasons I talking about how each state is different is there are places still in this country where mental health is so looked down upon. It's considered a weakness. Well, I'm here to tell you that anybody who has a mental health diagnosis, it takes strength to get through every day. Even on good days, it takes strength. It takes strength because something throughout the day is always going to remind you that you are never going to be a normal human being. You know, some people have the opportunity and the luxury of going into remission. And yes, depression does have a remission, but there's those of us who have a chemical imbalance that we're just kind of stuck with this for the rest of our lives. And so when we share our feelings, when we're open about our feelings, and we find the need to talk to people, it gets a little, you know, it can get a little easier. And that's what I was talking about. I was talking about curiosity. You know, how we're curious. I really am. I am genuinely curious about other people. And so now I remember where I was going with that. But sorry about that. Circling back. If you ever see me on the street and you need an ear, I'm here. I truly am here. My inbox is open on all my social medias, and I will listen. I've learned how to listen. I know I cannot fix people. See, this is what I'm talking about with the echo dot. I know I can't fix people, but I'm also in a place now where I've healed enough that I don't need to fix other people to make myself feel better. But I can lend them an ear. I can give them that shoulder that they might need. So again, when is the last time you talked about someone about your feelings? If you have people you trust and you have a wonderful support system, which is what yesterday's self-love lesson was about, was having a very strong support system, then, you know, talk to them. They will listen. And sometimes just make it clear. I just need someone to talk to. I don't need you to say anything. I don't need you to fix it. I just need someone to listen. And I'm kind of in that state right now, I'll be honest. I feel the emotions coming up because I was asked how I was doing yesterday, and I'm really struggling with this new mindset of mine. And what it is, there's a thing called, you know, ascension. And ascension doesn't, you know, in religion it means high, you're poofing up to heaven. But in the metaphysical term, ascension is basically, it's like a spiritual upgrade. You know, it's a mindset upgrade. And I spent so many years not believing in deserving things or being good enough or being lovable that I'm really struggling with trying to figure out how to break that. And I've tried to talk it out with people, and or at least with older sibling, but I'm still struggling, and I don't know how to move forward from it. I'm trying to figure it out. I really, really am. But it's like literally looking at the life you want through a glass window and not being able to touch it. Because, you know, the door may be unlocked to go in and look at all this stuff, but there's just a real big lack of faith in who I can be, who I am really, on this, not even just on the surface, but deep, deep inside of me. On the surface, there's just this person that doesn't feel like they're deserving of anything. But in my heart, I know I am. And so that's my struggle. And it's a huge struggle. So if you're having these kind of issues, just maybe talk to somebody. Find someone who's not too busy and can give you some time and just say, hey, you know what? I really need to bounce these things off of you. Because I'm struggling and I need a little bit of a push. And sometimes when we open our feelings and we share these things, they may hold the key if you ask them to share what their thoughts are. So just keep that in mind, okay? When was the last time you went outside? Now, this is mostly, I think, for people who have a dinged up mental health. Dinged up mental health can be so debilitating that some people struggle to get out of bed on some mornings. Last week I took 4 out of the 5 days off. And I knew that if I didn't, I would have probably canceled every other show this week. I needed to regroup because it was just everything I'm going through right now. It just became so overwhelming that I was trying to force myself to do these things. I was scatterbrained. I wasn't making a lot of sense. Usually I can remember an aspect of each of my shows. Well, the shows that I did the 2 previous weeks, I barely remember a thing from them because I was just trying, I wing every show, but I was trying to just get through each one and make sense. And I think maybe it is good that I share that, because I think it's important for us to know that when, you start to struggle, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to just stop, take a beat, and take a deep breath. You don't have to step back. On our journeys, we're allowed to stop and take a moment, take a breather. You don't have to keep chugging along like a choo-choo train. You are allowed to make stops at the train stops and take a breather, fill up, do whatever you need. The Disneyland Railroad in New Orleans Square, I had to think about that for a second. There's a water tower there. And every so often you'll see the train filling up there. It's the only place I believe the train fills up. But it knows, it takes its stop. It goes through all these lands, does its grand circle tour of Disneyland. But it knows when it needs more. And it takes that moment. And the train sits there for a lot longer. So sometimes you're like, yeah, I can't wait to get to whatever Fantasyland. You're sitting there for like 10 minutes going, why are we not moving? That's usually why. So, just take a moment if you need to. It doesn't mean you're going backwards. It just means you're taking a moment. All right. So, let's start to round this out. There's the last two. What is taking up most of my headspace? I'll make this quick. Is it negative or is it positive? Because if it's negative, there's work that needs to be done. Journaling, meditating, going for a walk. Take that walk, right? Just all different things that can help you with, getting that icky stuff out of your headspace. And lastly, I want to save this one for last because I think it's great. What can I celebrate today? What can I celebrate today? So what can you celebrate today? You're like, yeah, I'm at work. What the hell is there to celebrate? You can celebrate that you have a job. It's not easy for all of us to find one for some strange reason. But you can be grateful for you can celebrate the car that you drove there in. Or maybe there was transportation so you didn't have to walk. Or maybe you carpooled. Maybe it's someone's birthday today. Or maybe, there seems to be a hashtag special day for every single day of the year. So look that up. You can celebrate that. I like to celebrate Donut Day. National Donut Day. I know it's terrible. But no, you know what? It's not terrible. I'm not going to shame myself anymore. I like donuts. But I do not know what today is. So today I'm sure is some kind of hashtag National something day. But I also like National Beer Day. But anyway, today I'm going to celebrate being alive. I'm struggling with this mindset that I'm in, and trying to really, really, settle into the fact of feeling worthy and feeling deserving and trusting and believing that everything is going to work out okay without all this negativity that keeps popping up trying to stop me, right? Trying to throw obstacles in my course. They're like, it's like watching the little Mario Brothers game, right? And all these little obstacles that he has to jump over or he has to throw little fireballs at. And, that's sometimes what it feels like. And that's life. That's life. You're always going to come up to these obstacles and these weird little, pokey shell things that, take Mario out. But you're also going to have the Yoshis of your life, right? That pick you up and run you everywhere until they get away. I'm sorry. My brain. No, I'm fine. Really, I am. I mean, the time off that I took was perfect, but this is my brain. It goes in so many directions because I think Mario, and then I was like, oh, I love Yoshi. And so then I have to work Yoshi into the conversation. But, but my point is, that's life. That is life. There are things where we're going to have to, obstacles we're going to have to hurdle, situations we're going to have to throw those fireballs at, and those moments when you go cruising with your, I think Yoshi's a turtle. I love turtles. But, and go riding, right? Just go cruising somewhere. But it's about trusting your friends. It's about trusting your family and the people around you and your support system. And so, whatever you do, find something to celebrate today. It could just be the cup of coffee you're drinking, right? Oh, I'm so happy and grateful that I have a cup of coffee. And because that's important. That's important. My dad's taking a cruise to Hawaii in a couple of months, and all I can think of is, please bring me back some chocolate macadamia coffee. So I'm grateful for that. I'm celebrating that because come end of December, I'm going to be drinking some awesome coffee. So, and writing with some probably really cool pens. So anyways, random, I know, but you know what? Find something to celebrate today. Find something, no matter how, and don't think too hard on it. Just the first thing that comes to your head. Maybe you're writing with a pen. I'm celebrating my awesome pen today. I love pens. Or my awesome journal today. Yeah, I actually switched back to notebooks for this because got some heavy lifting to get onto these pieces of paper. So anyways, oh my god, my brain today, it's just scattered. But anyways, that's what makes a perspective so fun, just being all over the place. So I'm not sure if baby sibling heard it earlier, if she's still on, but just in case, happy hump day. So there's that for her. And anybody else who enjoys X, I love the hump day. But I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. And no, I just keep thinking someone's probably like, what is she on? This is life, dude. This is straight up life. I am high on life. And I think I'll be honest with you, because I noticed the change in my demeanor when I came clean about, this mindset I'm in. And I know I was asked about it yesterday, but I think really going into depth and being heard is oh good. I was worried you missed it earlier, baby sibling, so I thought I better throw that in again. But I'm gonna have to have a talk with these people that call you during my show. So so anyways, I know work stuff. You gotta have work stuff. But yeah, this is being high on life, because I realize now that even though there is a lot of confusion in where my mindset is, it's out in the open. And I don't mean just out in the open. It's out in the open for me, like officially. So I know what I need to work on. And that in itself is something to celebrate. And it's a very elating feeling, because it's like a weight off my shoulders and my chest. So anyways, again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day today. Please take care of yourselves. Please think about the self-care ritual stuff, alone time, family time, aromatherapy. Be careful with the pets. Burning, what was it? The fire one. I know. I just really try to block that one from my head. But, or even rest. Rest is important. Okay. So again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for watching and hanging in there with me. I hope you all have a great, great day. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Self-love lesson, I believe, number 24 will be tomorrow on Things to Think on Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Facebook Live. All lives are public. Anybody can watch it. We do not have to be friends. You can find it under Shelly Marie Lucas. And the reason I mentioned the lives is because if you want to come on, pop on and just, chat with me, that's great. I'm totally open for it. And what else? I also upload it to YouTube under the Aloha Perspective with Shelly Marie Lucas, and I share it to my Facebook page, the Aloha Perspective. So you have a lot of different places you can see this. I upload it to Twitter. I do a shorter version on TikTok, like a minute-long version on TikTok. I don't do Self-Care Wednesdays anymore, but I have been doing the self-love lessons on there. So if you want to catch the shorter versions of those, then, there you go. They're all there on TikTok under the Aloha perspective. So again, have a great, great day, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to everybody tomorrow. Have a happy hump day!